welcome to my 20 for 20 presentation for BADM 658. My name is David A. Shoemaker, and throughout this video, you'll be learning about the topic that I selected. The topic that I selected was hobbies. Everyone, albeit may be different for each person, but everyone has a hobby of some sort. For your viewing pleasure, I attached a definition on the slide of the semantical definition of hobby. It's an activity done in one's leisure time for pleasure. We all like to engage in these type of activities. Hopefully though, by the conclusion of this video, you will have a better idea, a better sense of how my hobbies affect me in both my personal and professional life and what those hobbies are. Jet ski riding. I have a 3-year-old daughter. Her name is Paisley. Many of you all have had the pleasure of perhaps meeting her, but after she was born, I decided it was time for me to get out of motorcycle riding. I was a very avid motorcycle rider, but when she was born, I thought it would be better to get into a safer hobby. So I selected jet ski riding. My first jet ski was a Sea-Doo SP. It is also, you see a picture attached on the right of the slide. It was a very fun beginner bike. I did about 60 to 65 miles on the open water and weighed a little under 400 pounds. With jet ski riding, the terrain or field that you use or ride on is very important to a successful day of riding. Preliminary, I rode on 2 local lakes my first year riding. The first lake that I rode on was Deep Creek Lake, located in Garrett County, Maryland. There's also a picture attached to the right of the slide. It's the largest body of inland water in the state of Maryland. As a reference, it's located in Garrett County. It is also very heavily populated in the summertime. It's a favorite local riding destination for boats, jet skis, and different types of watercraft, but it is really a very enjoyable body of water. Going forward, as I referenced, the Sea-Doo was my first jet ski that I owned and purchased. However, going forward into this year, presently, I just purchased 2 more jet skis. A Kawasaki 750. It does about 65 to 70 miles on the open water, and a Polaris 650. And there's also several pictures, and I was working on it yesterday trying to get the carburetors cleaned out, and I'd put a jet ski or a jet kit in the jet ski of the 750, the Kawasaki. With that said, as I referenced, Deep Creek Lake, Jennings Randolph Lake was 2 local lakes that I had visited earlier in my riding career, but there's some other lakes that I would like to visit this year. Lake Wally, located in northeastern Pennsylvania. It's a very large body of water, over 5,700 acres of surface water. It's much bigger than Jennings Randolph or Deep Creek. Not as much heavily populated, but still a very large body of water. And I've also attached a picture of Lake Wally on the right of the slide. Continuing on, I also have family in Kentucky, Lexington, Kentucky, Georgetown, Kentucky, and there's a lake called Lake Cumberland, over 63,000 acres of surface water. The shoreline is over 1,200 miles. It's really a huge body of water, much bigger than even Lake Wally, and it doesn't even really compare to the 2 local lakes around my area. A fun fact was they actually discovered a lake. It was built in the early 1900s, but it cost upward a little under $100 million to repair the lake. That's a lot of money for those. Obviously, we're in our MBA program. That's a lot of money, even though to repair a thing like that. Transitioning, I have a second hobby, and that is sports. This is a very general term because really I enjoy all kinds of sports, albeit watching sports, playing sports, coaching sports, the whole category really of sports. It's a very fun and avid hobby of mine. Attached on the below of your PowerPoint, I have a couple pictures. The first picture was at a Mountaineer Kansas game earlier this year. We ended up winning that game in a pretty good fashion. This middle picture was a West Virginia game, basketball game, and I was fortunate to attend 4 or 5 of those games this year, and actually seen West Virginia knock off the #1 teams twice, both in Morgantown, West Virginia. The third picture on the far right is a picture of me at a New York Jets game. As I referenced, I'm a very avid Mountaineer fan, and Geno Smith was actually getting the start against the Baltimore Ravens this past year. Unfortunately, as I made the drive up there, it was about 8 hours one way. I went without some sleep, but Geno actually tore his ACL in that game. That was a disappointing, still a lot of fun though, and any opportunity that I have to attend a sporting event, It's always a lot of fun. What attracted me to sports? As you see, first as I referenced earlier about my daughter Paisley, there's a picture of her. I've been working with her with baseball. I'm not for sure. So far she's enjoyed it, but she's really taken to liking to baseball. I'm a very competitive person by nature. It's just, I guess, my nature, my genetics of how I was born up. So the environment of sports is naturally enthralled around competitiveness, and I probably is one of the ideal characteristics of sports that attracted me to the games. And I just love the competitiveness, the team morale that is gained, and it's a lot of fun. I still, fortunately, have had the luxury and good health to still play some sports. I play an adult softball league. The picture on the far right was my first game last year, actually playing in an adult softball league. And that's been a lot of fun. I'm actually currently playing this year as well. I also like to shoot skeet and go to the driving range. Unfortunately, those two hobbies I don't get to do as quite as often as I would like, but any opportunity that I have to shoot skeet or even go to the driving range, it's always a lot of fun. And also the third sports activity that I like to play is recreational basketball league. I've been blessed to play basketball really my whole life, and if I had to pick a particular sport that I'll probably have a passion for the most, it would be basketball. Transitioning into my third hobby, culinary arts. Really probably you might be thinking that's not necessarily a transition is from jet ski riding to sports, but I love cooking. It's just a talent or a skill that I've picked up. It's been acquired throughout the course of my life. And really, and not to be funny, but when I was 18, my parents had moved away. So really I had the option of either eating McDonald's for the rest of my life or learning how to cook. So throughout the last 7 or 8 years, I've really picked up cooking. As you can see, I've attached a couple pictures of some food that I prepared. Steak is on the bottom picture, and we have a stir fry with some roast beef tips on the far right picture. My favorite go-to meal is a marinated ribeye. I usually like to do sauteed snow peas. I usually put a little bit of garlic on there, baked potato, and also red wine. Continuing on with cooking, it's really an interesting hobby. If you're looking at the specifics of what goes into cooking, it requires precision, very methodical processes, and it's not something that you rush. It does require patience, but you can kind of incorporate your own style, your own niche in the preparation of meals. And for me, I picked up spicy food. I like to incorporate some type of spicy or spices into my meals. And another benefit of cooking is you can dictate the level of healthiness that you prepare into your meals. A lot of people, and I do have a passion for working out and lifting as well, which I won't get into that, but I do like to prepare meals cleanly as possible. I don't have to incorporate certain levels of butter or ingredients that not necessarily are good for you. So when you prepare your own food, you have the ability to be healthy. So what does watercraft riding, jet ski riding, or sports, cooking, how are they correlated, and what do they have to do with my personal life and professional life? Okay, so jet ski riding, it fits my personality due to the adrenaline rush. It's a lot of fun when you're going 70 miles an hour across an open body of water, similar to riding a roller coaster or skydiving or even motorcycle riding. It's obviously a safer substitute to those activities, but it's still a replica of that adrenaline rush. So as I referenced before, I naturally like those kind of activities. So jet ski riding is the one that appeals to my adrenaline side. Culinary arts, as I just referenced, it is an acquired hobby. I've developed a lot of interest in this for preparing food and meals for my family. In essence, because honestly, it is the safer alternative than consuming a lot of fast food or takeout. So where jet ski riding may appeal to my fast-paced or my adrenaline side, the culinary art side of this hobby, it draws to the methodical processes, the patience, the thoughtful preparation. And now I'm going to tie all this together. Sports acts as the bridge between both of these hobbies. And on the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a picture of my daughter. And actually, I was coaching my brother's basketball team. This is about 3 or 4 years ago. He was in a youth basketball league, and I was the coach of that team. But sports is the bridge. So by definition, sports is not only a fast-paced action event, it also involves methodical plays, coaching processes, patience. So for instance, the thrill of speeding across an open body of water at 65 miles an hour, that can be emulated by hitting a game-winning three or scoring the winning run going into the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs left. On the flip side of things though, the feeling of success that you get when you prepare a 4 or 5 star meal or cook a ribeye for your friends and they compliment you on it, that feeling of success can be rivaled by drawing up a game-winning play or coaching and employing your team to victory. Each of my hobbies, attributes, or benefits, they're all correlated to each other and they affect my personal life, professional life. Enjoying hobbies that appeal to your different styles, our different personality styles or preferences, it ultimately allows us to build upon the professional that we seek to be in our professional life. Speaking for myself, without my hobbies, I can wholeheartedly say I would not have the same level of enthusiasm or concentration while I was at the workforce. So while these activities, these hobbies may be recreational in nature, I think it's imperative, generally speaking, for all of us to set aside a certain number of time each day or each week and spend time enjoying ourselves, myself. And generally speaking, the only thing that can ultimately hold us back from ourselves is ourselves. I have a collage of pictures in conclusion. I wasn't able to attach all the ones that I've wanted. I've had a lot of fun doing these hobbies really my whole life. The jet ski riding I've really just picked up the last couple of years, but I can really envision that in my future as well. The first picture you'll see is a picture of us, picture of the game between the Mountaineers and the Kansas Jayhawks last year. They were a then ranked number 1 team, and we beat them in Morgantown. On the second picture on your right is a screenshot on Google Earth of Deep Creek Lake. I didn't get into all the specifics of the 2 local lakes around Mineral County where I live at, Jennings-Randolph Lake and Deep Creek Lake. But honestly though, Deep Creek Lake is one of my favorite lakes that I've had the privilege to ride on. The third picture on the bottom left-hand screen is a picture of meal prepping, and I think I briefly discussed the significance of preparing healthy foods and how it is a better, healthier alternative than takeout or fast food, etc. The fourth picture was actually a picture that I took while studying. I was watching a football game, and I was studying for a test, but in essence, for me, spending time relaxing, watching a football game, I was still able to get quality time studying as well. Thank you for watching. I've had a lot of fun with this 20 for 20 presentation. Thank you. God bless, and have a great semester.